Well, aloha kakahiaka. Today is September 13th. I'm your host, Peter K., and you are with us live on the Aloha Friday Hawaii Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. What we say for a welcome is we say e komo mai. E komo mai is a Hawaiian word that means welcome, and we're glad that you're here. So today, we got a couple of things for you today. What the lineup for today? We got some Hawaii news for you. We're going to go over and just kind of give you the stuff that I think is kind of interesting. We got some market updates. We got some folks in the real estate industry with us that are going to give you the market updates from the respective islands. Your questions are top and foremost for us. So we're going to be going over your question. We got a bunch of them submitted and also the ones that you've got here with us. We're going to be covering some diamonds in deals, which are properties that we think are interesting, diamond properties and deal properties, some have both. And then finally, we're going to close with some motivational thoughts. But before we do that, we have to warm up. We have to warm up the microphones, make sure the YouTubes are all working and the Facebooks are all following us. So I'm joined with my friends today. We are, I guess I want to say statewide. We are almost statewide, I suppose. We have Heidi Dallinger, who is with us from Maui, and we have Ashley Wasson, who's with us from the island of Oahu, and we have Misty Padilla, who is with us from Hawaii Island, from the Big Island. Why don't we warm up those microphones? Let's go clockwise. So Heidi, Heidi has a ceremonial coffee of the day. What's your coffee, and how's it going in Maui today, Heidi?
It's going great on Maui today. I went to the coffee store in Napili, and there were a lot of people there. It was a happening place. There was a light rain this morning, but the sun was out, so just it feels beautiful and fresh, and happy to be here.
Beautiful. You can't beat that, right? You've got that. I've got my ceremonials. You know what? It's kind of funny. This is my Starbucks insulated coffee mug. I've had this thing for like 25 years now, and it still serves me. Still doing it, and my first sip is the best. And light rains in Maui. What could be better? What could be better? Well, maybe Ashley can give us an update on what could be better on her end. You got a big fancy desk behind you there, Ashley. We're missing the surfboard. The surfboard's gone. Ashley's board is missing. She's gone corporate. What's happening, Ashley, on Oahu today?
My stepdaughter just graduated college, so she moved in. So we had to rearrange and take my other half's office in here and then decorated it with all of our crap. So that's his desk, believe it or not. And the surfboard is now hanging in our living room, decorated and showcased as it should be. The weather is phenomenal. It's so stunningly beautiful out right now. I'm kind of looking forward to the rainy season as well. There's something about being a little chilly in Hawaii, but right now we're just soaking up the sun.
Yeah, it's been a really amazing set of days. The winds has been like super light. It was really funny. Oh, I'll share with later. I have a kind of a cool Hawaii story, but I want to say, speaking of cool, Alex is cool. Alex Martin. Hey, Alex, welcome back, buddy. Aloha from Visalia, California. I'm so jealous that you all live in Hawaii. Well, you will too. We got that. I know that's a picture of Waimanalo on your Facebook. Waimanalo behind you on your Facebook profile, Alex. So I know that Hawaii is on your mind and in your heart, and you will be here too. You too will be here one day. But someone's already here today, and that's Misty Padilla, who's from Hawaii Island. So, Misty, is that the thing now? Do we no longer call it the Big Island? Do we have to call it Hawaii Island now? Give me the cultural scoops and give us the update on what's happening on your side of the island, Misty.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's truly my pleasure to be here. So yes, it is Hawaii Island. And yes, they are fading away from having it addressed as the Big Island. So Hawaii Island, that's the more appropriate way to address our island.
So, okay, so give us the scoop on how's your day going? What's happening on Hawaii Island over there where you're at? How has your day been? What's happening?
You know, it is absolutely beautiful. Today's a very, very sunny day. It typically is that way here in Kona. I live in Kailua, Kona, so I'm on the west side of the Big Island, Hawaii Island. And, the past few nights, it's been really hot and muggy, which is just not fun. But of course, waking up the next morning, it's just absolutely beautiful. Morning traffic is crazy, not as crazy as Oahu. So I really embrace our traffic here on this island, but it's absolutely beautiful. Definitely a beach day.
I had so here's my lucky we live Hawaii story. So I went on a very, very short trip to the mainland to visit my parents for about 6 days. And I came back and it was really kind of cool. So I come back and, get off the plane. It's like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, come home. And my daughter here, who's visiting from the mainland as well, and she goes, "Dad, let's go for a swim." And we walked out from our house. We're super, super, super blessed. We live a short walk to the beach. We walk to the beach, jump in the water, and it's one of these, as Ashley was saying, it's like the weather for the past week or so has been like super light wind, so it's kind of muggy. But for the water was like glass. It was like glassy water. And so, I come from the mainland, city of Chicago, come to Hawaii, land in, as soon as I come home, I jump into a tropical sandbar and enjoying myself and loving life. And I turn back around and this beautiful turquoise water. My daughter and I are swimming, and there's sea turtles where we're swimming in the water. So we're checking out sea turtles, and we're looking back, and the island is there with the clouds over the Ko'olau mountain range. And it's just like, man, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for what I have. Amazing. Just amazing.
Lucky we live Hawaii, right?
Man, oh man, you ain't kidding. Speaking of someone else who's lucky, Judy is lucky. Judy Everett Weber is with us. Judy is a mainstay of the Hawaii Islander Ohana and is also now part of Dylan's team. So welcome, Judy. Great to have you with us. You're always awesome, and I'm really happy that you're here. And hey, folks, if you've joined us, why don't you give us a quick shout out? Let us know where you're from. Let us know that you're here. Say hello. Tell us where you're from. It's always fun to see who's with us and who's visiting us. Great. All right. It's next slide, please. Let's do so. You know what? I'm going to do a quick news update. I found some stuff, and if you guys, as I'm going through it, think about if you want to comment on it. But before I do that, I got to say, I give a shout out to Kathy Stellman. Aloha from San Diego. Welcome, Kathy. I'm going to be actually dropping by San Diego in a couple of weeks, actually, really quickly. So it's a cool place. Thanks for giving a shout out. Make sure you let us know where you're from. All right, let's hit some news. These are some stuff that I picked up that I thought are kind of interesting. So skyrocketing. Where's my notes here? Skyrocketing condo costs. So apparently, man, we've been talking about this for many times over the show, and I'd be curious of what our experts here have to comment on it. So many condo and townhomes are starting to pay up for the increased maintenance fees, and it looks like there's an impact on sales. Now, we don't know if it's a causal impact, but we know one thing. Apparently, according to the news here, sales fell 48% in Waikiki and 38% in the Makiki Mo'iliili areas in June. Both neighborhoods have lots of underinsured older condo buildings. So I'd be curious of what Ashley's got to say about that in terms of what's happening with the market. Virus bugs, the Kalalau Trail. Oh man, this is like tragic. One of the most beautiful places on earth that I've ever been, and that's saying a lot. The Kalalau Trail on Kauai has been closed. Virus bugs, norovirus. The norovirus, comes from contaminations and things like that, and God knows what was going on over there, but they had to close it down. Apparently the entire Kalalau Trail section is closed, could last until September 19th. And it's even being manned by law enforcement 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to prevent entrance. Apparently there was a stomach bug outbreak. A bunch of people got sickened, dozens of people. Hopefully, everybody will bring their hand sanitizers next time around. That is a bummer. But you know what? As you might have guessed, I did not plan this, but synchronistically, the story I gave you, my personal story, is one story of why Hawaii is the happiest state in the USA. We're number one in a lot of things. You don't want to be number one on like cost of living and things of that nature, but we also are the happiest state in America. Lucky we live Hawaii. A new 2024 study has revealed that the Aloha state has been ranked happiest state in the nation. That's one thing we don't need to have a survey confirm. We know that. Those of us who live here know that. It is the greatest place. There was an interesting statistic that I saw about Maui that I thought was like, wow, it's pretty amazing. How much debris, so the tragic Lahaina fires that happened last year, how much toxic debris has been piled up. Get this, 5 football fields, 5 stories deep. Think about that. A football field, 50 feet high, 5 of those. That's how much toxic waste. It's a lot of waste. And then finally, the Waikiki Natatorium. There's a landmark in In Waikiki, it's called the Natatorium. It is an old pool back from the early 1900s. And it's been its death has been rumored many times. There have been a lot of groups that want to get rid of it. A lot of groups want to save it. It looks like there is a $35 million project is aiming to reopen the gates for public swimming. That would be wild if that was going to happen. So that's my news. That's my news for today. Why don't we kind of slip into a combination of news and a little bit of market updates? Why don't we go? Let's go counterclockwise. Let's talk about the market and what's happening on that. So let's start with Misty, and then we'll go to Ashley, and then we'll go to Heidi. Misty, what are you seeing on what's been happening on the Big Island that's notable, that's worth talking about? That if someone was looking to buy a home on the Big Island and they talk to you about it, what would you tell them? And if they said, "Hey, Misty, what's the market like? I heard X," what would you say?
As we say, it's buy now and wait, not wait and then buy later. And I'm sure that's what you folks are all feeling as well. We always keep telling ourselves, we wish we bought more of it back in the day, as opposed to, just sitting around and waiting. Everyone just seems to be kind of riding the wave right now when it comes to the elections and interest rates, all the things that we're experiencing. You kind of get, you have that sense of feeling that everyone's just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. But in the meantime, just focusing on Hawaii Island, compared to July of 2024, I believe I did put that in the slide as well. For the new listings on single family homes, 2023, we were at 240, and right now we're at 217. For the sold listings, single family homes, it was at 185, and then now 176. So there is definitely a shift that's going on here. At the same time, I'm sure the ladies can agree that it's not getting cheaper. It's only going to get more expensive to be able to live, and have the privilege of living here in Hawaii. The median sales price for the single family homes right now is at approximately $555, is what the market says there. Looking at the condominiums, there's definitely been a spike in condos that are available. We're now at 84. Definitely a lot of people, it's a thing right now, all the short-term vacation rentals, everyone just wants to have a piece of paradise, especially on the ocean front. Looking at land, kind of the same as what it was before. Right now we're at 230 compared to what it was before, 237. So we're kind of, trading the same for land deals. But yeah, Ashley, I'm sure you folks are feeling the same, the spike and the trend that's been going on. Everyone's just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. I don't know. Is that what you ladies are feeling right now?
Great question. Let's flip over to Ashley. Ashley, give us the update. And Misty is asking if are you feeling the heat of the spike, or the anticipation of the spike?
Yeah. Well, our market is they're so opposite when it comes to single family versus condos. So I think that's maybe our bigger shift in the mindset for buyers. But definitely an interesting market for sure. Single family homes, the active inventory since August last year was 27%. So 27% more inventory. For condos, it's 64%. So I missed the last show, but the show before that, I was stating that it was 48% more inventory. So this past month in August, 64% more condos came on the market, which is a lot. The actual sales of single family homes, though, did increase 0.5%, but it increased. The condo sales dropped 5%, though. So that kind of goes in line with the amount of inventory that increased. And then the single family homes here, it actually went up 1%. So we're now at 1.122 average price point for single family. So our single family market is really strong still. The condo market went down 2.9%. So it's a little less at about 500,000. So days on market for single family homes are down. Days on market for condos are up. Those statistics all kind of align with how much inventory has come on market. So yeah, we're seeing this kind of ties in with your news piece, right, about the condos. So we're happy to go back around and sort of circle back on that too.
Yeah. So I was going to say about that. Actually, this article that I caught pointed out specifically that those huge drops in Waikiki and Mo'iliili, which have the older condos. Have you been seeing any kind of have you been kind of noticing that similar sort of shift that the condos are a bit more touch and go because of the nature of the price increases, the insurance rates, the overdue maintenance fees, and all those sorts of things? Is that I see Misty nodding? Yeah, is that what you're seeing too, Ashley?
I think that Waikiki carries these statistics on their back, to be honest, because you have different parts of the island. Let's say Evra Beach, for example, which is the leeward side of the island. That's all newer construction homes. They didn't really see massive increases on their maintenance fees. But Waikiki, you have, certain things that are coming to expiration dates as well. So you have your plumbing, which has a 20, 30-year warranty. You have roofing. These things that usually last 20 to 30 years are coming into cycles, with the first or second time to replace those items. So put that on top of building's entire insurance policy, that they're going to not only see an increase just from certain maintenance items that need to be done, but of course, the entire natural disaster debacle we've been talking about on this show. And that's not just specifically for Hawaii. That is a nationwide thing. And that's not specifically for condos either. That's for single families too.
What's that nationwide thing that you're referring to specifically?
Everyone across the nation is experiencing insurance issues. So in 2023, we had more $1 billion natural disasters in history. I think there was 26 $1 billion natural disasters. 10 years ago, that was under 16. So we've seen a huge increase in those costs. So insurance companies are completely pulling out of certain markets. Like Florida is a very volatile market. Certain parts of California are very volatile. Hawaii is up there. So I think at some point, some of the governments, what we kind of predicted a month or two ago is that governments might subsidize the insurance to gap it. And I think that some states are already starting to implement that. And I don't know for sure, but I've heard Hawaii is in talks about it as well. It's bound to happen because there's no regulation on insurance company forcing them to stay in a state or forcing them to insure anything.
That's going to be interesting as we move on there. I want to, before we move on to Heidi, I want to give a shout out to another Heidi. Yes, Heidi Dornfield. Welcome, Heidi. Aloha. Aloha to you, Heidi. Where are you from, Heidi? Let us know where you're Facebooking from. It's always kind of fun to know where people are at and where they're coming from. And by the way, for everyone else, if you have just joined us, make sure you let us know where you're from. It's always good to kind of see everybody. And I want to give a shout out to Alex Backman. Alex, welcome back, buddy. It's good to see you. Happy Aloha Friday. We are really glad that you are here with us and joined us here today. Excellent. Heidi, give us the update on Maui and let us know. I'd be curious after your update or whenever during your update is how is the condo market also being affected? I mean, Maui's got all kinds of other external forces, but I'd be curious about the insurance rates and how that condo market's being affected, if at all. So give us the update, Heidi. How's Maui's market doing?
Yeah, thanks, Peter. Maui's market is moving along. It's definitely a slower market. August 2024, we saw 64 sales of single family homes and 66 sales of condominiums. That's the sales of condominiums are down 34.7% compared to same month last year, August 2023. And remember, August 2023 was the Lahaina fire. So we're definitely seeing a slower condo market, but we're also seeing some buyers return to the market because they're finding opportunity in the amount of good inventory that there is available. And the market conditions have, especially in the condo market, have definitely shifted more in favor of buyers. So we are seeing some buyers who know they want to own on Maui, know they want to be here, and they're coming in and shopping around and finding some great inventory to buy. The insurance issue with condos, it's actually become part of the realtor's job and the due diligence process to understand like what's going on with the condo insurance. I just had a closing today, and part of that escrow was getting the HOA to get an updated insurance policy to meet the lender's needs so we could close the loan. So it took a little bit longer, but we got it done. I mean, we're also seeing on older structures. Insurance agents are just, it seems there's more stringent requirements. So on the listing side or the buy side, good realtors are getting out in front of that and helping their buyers and sellers get that information up front to create as smooth a process as possible.
Excellent. Thank you, Heidi. Misty, I'm curious, has the, how has the condo, well, first question first, back up for a second. Heidi, you mentioned that one thing that kind of stuck out to me is you said that the condo sales are some percentage down from last year, August, which was right after, okay, this is last year, August. So this is right after the Lahaina fires. Are you saying that the condo sales are down compared to last year after the fire? Because that's like, I would think that after the fire, there's like next to no sales at all. And if you're down from that, that's kind of really traumatic, I would think. I'm not sure.
Well,
How does that tie up?
The properties closing August 2023, they would have already been far along in escrow. But yeah, after the Lahaina fire, I mean, sales slowed down significantly last year in 2023. Because our condo inventory is up so much compared to what it was, I've had people asking, why does everybody want to sell right now? And I started looking back at the data, and the amount of new listings coming on the market now is like the same it was in 2022. The only difference is we don't have as many buyers. So they're staying on the market a little longer. It seems like there's a lot of inventory, but there's not actually more people selling compared to 2022. So that was just interesting to observe. Go ahead.
No, go.
I lost my train of thought. But
sorry about that. I apologize. Well, if you pick it back up again, this is about the comparison. Well, it's going to be interesting. This is the comparison to last year with the Lahaina fire. I guess the real effects of Lahaina's fires would be maybe in September or maybe October, because like you said, there's a lead time with escrow. All the escrows that were closing have closed in August, and not like the day after the fire didn't like drop out the whole market. So it'll be interesting as the year goes on how the comparisons to the previous year are going to be skewed. Before I go to you, Misty, I want to say hi and a shout out to Susie Homemaker. Susie, welcome, Susie.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome, Sue. Aloha from Southern California. Let us know where you're from. Folks like to hear from you. Misty, I was curious about, have you seen or felt or heard whatever any kind of effects of the climbing insurance rates and maintenance fees? Has that had an effect on the Big Island market at all that you're aware of?
Yes, I know we touched on this. I think it was a few weeks ago when Ashley had, when we were first talking about it. But yes, definitely. We definitely feel the increase. Everything's being elevated. Plus to it, it's a lot of people don't realize, being here on Hawaii Island, we're very limited with resources. We don't have an abundance of choices to choose from like Oahu does. So it does cost a little extra to get everything over to our island, so when it comes time to having to redo your roofing, building your homes from ground up, and just basically upkeeping and maintenance, especially in the condo market, everything costs so much more to get it over to our island. So yeah, HOAs are definitely increasing. Insurance is increasing. Everything seems to be elevating at this time. And yeah, we're definitely feeling the shift everywhere, just as, you folks are. A little bit different on our island, but yeah, definitely an increase that we do feel.
I just want to remind sort of the market too, that we're still talking historically low months on inventory. We're still talking about a buyer's market currently. If it stays in this trajectory, at some point it will shift to a seller's market. But even with these added percentages of inventory, with the slightly higher days on market, yeah, it is big shift from the last half a decade. But in historically perspective, we're still a buyer's market. We're still under 6 months of inventory. I think that'll shift here soon. So really, yes, there's insurance costs. Everyone across the nation is going to experience that. And I'm not trying to sell on condos. It's just a lifestyle that a lot of people want to live. And just reminders to not be fearful of these things. This is going to be a shift where everyone's going to have to go through this paradigm of what are the new costs, what's the new reality. And then a year or two from now, that's going to be the norm, and everyone's going to have these sort of cost expectations. So take this opportunity now, if you're in the market for condos, to use this as leverage to negotiate before it becomes the norm.
I totally agree, Ashley. That was totally on point.
Well said. Well said. I don't know why, Ashley, but when you mention all that about adjusting to the new norm, it's kind of like, yeah, we're in this period of flux right now, right? Like I'm adjusting to the new norm of going to McDonald's and buying a meal for like my wife and I and spending $40. That's the new norm. I'm just trying to wrap my brain around $40 for McDonald's. Like, it's like,
What did you
cheap.
order?
Nothing. You should try it. Go with your husband, go through drive-through McDonald's, buy two quarter pounder with cheese meals or whatever, get the meal package. You're going to be banging up against $35. It's crazy.
I firmly believe, just like you see, like TikTok and those platforms are so powerful, because when you band together and you boycott certain places and you're just loud about it and you spend 3 months collectively doing it, they end up pivoting. They're like, okay, people aren't going to tolerate this anymore, because that shouldn't be the new norm. Like insurance companies, at some point, it's got to be a profitable, entity. They are losing tons of money. Insurance companies are going belly up. They wouldn't be going belly up if they weren't losing funds and money. But like McDonald's, really? They're showing like 600, 800% profits year over year. That's ridiculous. That's infuriating.
The burgers are going to get smaller. That's the solution. Yes, the prices will drop, but the burgers are just going to get smaller.
Stinkflation.
They're going to be like, this big.
I don't go to McDonald's, but they're just, the real limit on, we're talking about there's more inventory, like homes are selling at a slower pace, condos are selling at a slower pace, but they're not really building much new inventory, and it is very difficult to build here on Maui. So inventory is restricted, and they're really never going to build enough to have everybody that wants to be here own a place. So it's a very limited resource. If you're able to own any kind of housing on Maui, it's quite valuable.
So this goes back to Misty's original one-liner. What was that, Misty? When you started, better to wait and buy, or buy, or what was that?
Buy real estate and wait. Buy real estate and wait, and not wait to buy real estate.
There you go. There you go. Buy and wait versus wait to buy. Indeed. So, someone else I want to say hello to who's not waiting to put their comments on is Jessie Naomi Grace. Welcome, Jessie. Glad that you are with us. Aloha to you too. Glad that you gave us a shout out. All right, why don't we let's move on. Let's see what's the next slide I got in the deck over here. Oh yeah, quick! I got to give a quick station break over here, everybody. So I want you all to be a part of the IslanderOhana.com. Our cohort is closing. Going to be selling out pretty soon. It's filling up quickly. Go to IslanderOhana.com. What is the IslanderOhana.com? Well, look, this is how the whole thing started. It's about living the dream in Hawaii. And Hawaii is, simply put, it's really not for everyone. Some people come to Hawaii and their lives end up becoming a disaster because they didn't plan for it correctly. They didn't understand the culture. They weren't able to make the cultural changes. They came for vacation, thought it was great, picked up and moved, and realized, oh my God, this isn't it. So this is what the Islander Ohana is all about. It's giving you decades of wisdom that you're getting from everyone who's a part of the Ohana, people that have lived here for decades and gone through the issues, making new friends and connecting with trusted locals. Locals, for example, where do I get my furniture from? Like Misty was saying, who do we get good people to kind of, repair my roof? Where do I go? Where's a good place to go and buy who should I go buy a car from, etc. That's what it's all about. The cohort's going to be starting in October 2024. So you want to be a part of that. Make sure you go to the website is islanderohana.com. Go there. There's a join button. Click on the join button. You'll put in your email address. That's all you got to do. And you're going to get a series of emails that will tell you. And so here, don't take it from me, take it from Alex. Alex, who joined. Alex is a member of the Islander Ohana. Alex says, highly recommend them to join. Thanks, Alex. Really appreciate that, buddy. It's a big thank you. I really appreciate that. So islanderohana.com, make sure you make that happen. All right. Let's move on. So there's a couple of questions here, and this might be kind of interesting. So first of all, this is like, let me kind of throw the slide here that says it all. All right, your questions. So here's the deal, folks. You folks that are here with us right now live, you get priority. If you've got a question, pop it in the comments. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, pop it in the comment section. I'll pick it up over here. We'll throw your question on. Your questions come first. If you have anything you want to know, it's an ask us anything. I've got some great people with us here today. Make sure you let us know. Otherwise, I do have a couple slides, and of course, there's always a synchronicity that comes in with this one. So here's this first one. So this is interesting. So this comes from Tanya from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Tanya says, because I want to live, I'm 55 years old, on the leeward side in a condo resort. Any ideas? And so I thought that would be interesting. So thank you, Tanya, for your question. So I thought this might be a quite interesting topic right now, because, all right, so if you're in, so we just got through talking about condos and condos maintenance fees and all that kind of stuff. And it'd be interesting to kind of know if you're talking to Tanya. Now she's talking about a resort condo, fair enough, but let's just say Tanya's question, let's apply that to each of the islands. Why don't we kind of go, well, she asked about the leeward side. I'm assuming by leeward side, she means Oahu. I'm not exactly sure. But Ashley, why don't you go first? And then let's go Ashley, and then Heidi, and then Misty. What is your advice to Tanya from Green Bay, who wants to live in a resort condo, apparently, or a condo on the leeward side? What would your advice be to Tanya, maybe in general, Ashley, about buying condos or looking at resort condos? What would you tell Tanya, 55?
Well, Tanya, there is a very big difference of condo resort style living versus just condo living on the leeward side of Oahu. So I will speak to the condo resort ideas. The feeling of that type of environment would probably be found in Ko'olina. So there's a lot of resort style condos and options there for you. That is going to be on a higher end price point, usually at about 1.5, 1.8 minimum to start. And then you have Makaha Plantations. That's on the very, very far end of the leeward side. And that has very resort style feeling where people can drive around in little golf carts and you have a lot of amenities and views, but you're not right on the beach. So those are probably my two best suggestions. And there's also oceanfront condos those are great options as well, but they're not resort feeling.
Thank you, Ashley. Heidi, lots. I think there's a lot of resort options on Maui. What would your answer be to Tanya if she wanted to? We're not going to worry about leeward side so much, but what would be the answer that you would have for Tanya for Maui?
So, I mean, on Maui, the leeward side would be West Maui or South Maui. And there's lots of great resort neighborhoods. It just depends on your lifestyle, your budget, what type of property that you're looking for. A question that I often start with buyers who are looking to potentially live in a resort full time is how they feel about living next to other units that are doing vacation rentals. Like there's some communities that have resort style amenities, but they would be full-time living. Your neighbors would be people that live there full-time, or you could live in a resort where most of the units are being rented as vacation rentals. You'll have families coming and going every week. And people live in both and enjoy them. They're very different. There's no particular communities that have age restrictions, like there's no like 55 and over communities or anything like that. I mean, in reality, there are some communities where that seems to be the age of most of the residents, but there's no restrictions on who can live there. So yeah, Kaanapali has some beautiful properties, Wailea, Kihei. I mean, it all depends on your budget and the type of property that you're looking for.
Thank you, Heidi. Yeah, there are a lot. Actually, didn't think that through quite thoroughly. But yes, Maui has some major areas on the leeward side. Actually, I would almost say that the Oahu probably has the smallest amount of condos or on the leeward side per se. Unless you count Waikiki as leeward, you could. So I suppose. Go ahead, Ashley.
So South Shore. But important differentiator. I said the price points for Ko'olina, but for Makaha Plantation, those start at 250,000 up to like 350,000 for 2 bedrooms. So sorry, I just needed to touch on the big difference of those price points.
Yeah, big, good different. Yeah, but interesting. Yeah, by Lee, obviously, but Waikiki is on the South Shore. Waikiki is not considered the leeward side of Oahu for sure. What you mentioned earlier, Ashley, was the leeward side. Strictly speaking, not a lot of condo options on the leeward side. Hey, but before Misty, before we move on to you, I want to give a great shout out to Jim Stevenson. Jim, welcome back, Jim. Great to see you here, buddy. Jim is one of the earliest viewers of the show. He's been with us almost since the beginning. Aloha, everybody. Been a long time. Yes, it has. Been with a couple of issues. I hope you got your issues resolved, Jim. God bless. But as soon as I can, I'll be there. All right, man. Well, that's Jim. We are looking forward to the day. Jesse, I've got your question. I'm going to hold it off for later. I want to hit Misty first with her view on leeward side is the Kona side. So Misty, what kind of options? What would be your answer to Tanya, who's over 55, wants a condo resort on the leeward side of the Big Island? What would you say to Tanya?
Thanks, Peter. I'm going to echo exactly what, Heidi and Ashley says as well. It really depends, budget first and foremost is as you pursue more of the resort style living, you're definitely going to step into that realm of having elevated prices. It is going to cost more, and that will move you more towards north of our island. That's where all the resort living is. A lot of short-term vacation rentals, just as Heidi said, do you want to live next to those that have short-term vacation rentals? Are you looking, for neighbors that are more long-term? So it just really depends on what your preferences are. Here on the west side in Kona, that's where I live. A lot of our condos are oceanfront, but also keep in mind that this is not the kind of oceanfront that you just open the door and step into the ocean. This is just rocky, definitely not a place that you want to just jump in and swim. But it is beautiful, but also take into consideration all the wear and tear of having to live on the ocean. So those are all the things that you definitely want to put into your perspective. Weather-wise, yes, it's absolutely beautiful in Kona. We rarely see rain. When we do, we love and embrace it. You typically have sunshine, year round. But again, looking into pricing, taking into consideration your budget and more of your preferences. Kona is definitely a beautiful place to be as long as you can embrace everything that comes with the territory of being in Kona. Everything is far away, it's not close. So, allow time, for travel. Are you looking for somewhere that you want to walk to places? You got to take into consideration all those factors, but definitely a beautiful place to be.
No doubt it's a beautiful place to be. Thanks, Misty, for your comments. I was well, first of all, I want to give a quick shout out to Ted. This is Ted, Judy's husband. The Islander Ohana is an absolute game changer. Sign up, be honest with yourself, and make an informed decision. Aloha. But Ted, you've always got these amazing one-liners, man. And I would think that be honest with yourself is like a classic. If you could be, I think part of the spiritual journey that we take on the Islander Ohana, and there is a course on spiritual transformation. I think it's the most important one of them all. Is I never thought about it as kind of being honest with yourself, but it certainly makes you think about that. So thank you, Ted. I was curious. There was one thing that kind of slipped my mind. I was wondering, I'm just kind of openly wondering what is, Hawaii, the state of Hawaii really kind of came into its own, right around statehood, 1959, 1960, the jet age. After that period is when the condo booms, when the real estate boom, and most of that boom was kind of they put the kibosh on that move in the late 70s with regulation. So if you look at the housing market graphs, lots of housing was built from like 1960 to, let's say, 1980, just to make the numbers simple. From 1960 to 1980, huge boom, lots of condos, lots of lots of stuff was built out, lots of infrastructure. And then since then, it's been kind of tightly regulated. As Heidi was saying, it's very difficult to build. Misty saying it's very expensive. It's highly regulated. So I'm wondering now that this stuff is all aging, right? The whole infrastructure of Oahu for sure, and the other ones to a degree, everything is aging. Everything is like it was built in the 60s, right? So now it's all 60 years old. So the condos are old. They're maybe going for their second refresh, possibly. We're catching up. Infrastructure is old. The sewage systems are old. There's stories about the whole thing they're revisiting now on the sewage systems, septic tanks versus the other one where it goes into the ground. I forgot what it's called.
Cesspool.
Thank you, cesspool. Yeah, cesspool systems versus that. It's like big. I'm wondering if there's like one of these like atomic bomb clocks that are ticking, and we're all kind of going to like major a period of major maintenance fees, major expenses that we're all going to be facing sooner or later. I know. Actually, if you have any thoughts on that, in that you could summarize as a headline for me.
I think there's going to be certain buildings that will. Every building is differently managed, so your building is only as good as your management and the board members. So if you have a great board and people are staying on top of their maintenance, you can see that it's revealed in the condo docs, often with their scheduling, their budgets, and everything. And then some people just want to buy and set it and forget it. And you can definitely see deferred maintenance with those buildings. And those ones will perpetually be, suffering with constant costs. So at that point, those units will become extremely affordable. And then I always encourage investors that, like the condo market, when you see a building that's suffering to that degree, get as many units as you can, get on the board, and then you can start making some executive decisions to flip the building.
Man, so you just you just gave me an idea, and someone I hope someone is doing this, but I would think with the current situation there would be a market for an organization to produce an authoritative review of each condo, because normal mere mortals don't have the time to go through the condo docs, as you said, to go through the maintenance documents, to make sure that their things are all in order, the finances are all set, all that kind of stuff. I wonder if there's some kind of a rating system that would be like is there anything that's like that? Some kind of an impartial rating system where I can go and look and see almost like a bond rating?
No,
no.
I think that's a good idea. Definitely not. But the agent, to be honest, I hate to be, a broken record, but your agent's very important. If you have a good agent, they'll tell you how to explore through those documents. If it's really complex, there'll be some legal counsel that you can pay for maybe $500 or so to help you go through it, and $1,000, it's worth your investment of due diligence, but your agent will be key on that. However,
agents are
I see a business idea in the brewing, Peter.
I'm smelling it. It's got to be. I would think it's worth something. Well, here you just said it's worth $1,000. You basically just said it's worth $1,000, right? Because you're going to pay an attorney $1,000, right? So
I would pay an attorney $1,000. Not all buyers can. So now you have to incorporate. Now some buyers have to pay for the realtor's representation. Now
and on top
there's
of
a lot of costs that buyers have to consider.
Yep. All right. If you guys have any other comments, and throw them in. I want to hit Jesse Naomi Grace's question first before we move on. This is a great one. We actually touched on it at the last show. Do you feel the election has something to do with the slowdown in the market? Okay, snap poll here right now. Snap poll. Let's go around really quick. Let's go Misty, and then Heidi, and then Ashley. Has any one of your buyers or sellers mentioned anything to you about the election that in any way is their purchase or sale of being affected by the upcoming election? Misty.
Yes, that subject has come up. The election and of course interest rates. Those are usually the top two that gets thrown in.
Of course, interest rate. Yeah, the election and interest rates. Well, obviously we all know that if the presidential candidate that I'm not voting for wins, the world will come to an end. We all know this. This is a fact that's been proven. So just make sure my president wins, and then we'll all be good. Anyway, Heidi, what about you? Has anyone brought that up to you, buyers or sellers, about the presidential election kind of swayed them in any way?
Yes. Specifically, I had somebody yesterday who was going to make a move and then decided that they want to wait till after the election. They feel more comfortable making a decision then. Historically, there's been a little bit of a slowdown before an election in an election year, and then whoever wins after that, it picks up a little bit. So the upcoming election isn't the only factor in our market right now, but it is a factor. And at this point, I mean, we're in September, it's coming up so soon. So if people are feeling they want to wait till after November, I mean, they're probably going to wait at this point.
Interesting. All right. So Jesse, so far so good. What about you, Ashley? How has it?
No.
No.
I mean, I think I hear more like realtors talking about it or lenders, but in my particular client circle, I forget that that's even a factor for some people right now. I have in the past. I think the last election, there was a lot more conversations in my particular bubble, but no, surprisingly not this year.
All right. Well, there you go. So Jesse, hope that answers your. We have two who say yes, and one who says not in my circle. So that's interesting. Again, the only thing I got to say is if my president doesn't win, the world will come to an end, and that's basically it. So make sure, folks, you vote for my president. All right. Hey, why don't we do this? Let's go hit some diamonds and deals. It's that time, I believe. Yes, it is that time. Why don't we kind of do that? And this is where we've asked. Basically, they've put the girls have put together the property that they want to highlight, and it's always kind of fun to see. I have no idea what we got planned, so let's take a look at this one first. This one looks like it's coming from Maui. Heidi, this must be yours. What are we looking at over here?
So this is an adorable home in North Kihei, and it has the potential to be used as multiple rentals. It's set up as a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home with a studio. And then there's also a separate 1-bedroom cottage, and it's listed at 1285. This is a hollow cinder block construction built in 1975 originally, and just a sweet little home for under the median price of a home on Maui. And then you can Heidi, 2 extra spaces. So,
and well, I think that's what kind of stuck out to me. You've got 2 extra spaces you could rent out, right? You've got that 1-bedroom cottage and you've got that studio. Is that right?
Yes.
So I'll bet if you play your cards right, you could, well, not all of the mortgage payment, but boy, you could really kind of get a large leverage, a large assistance on your mortgage payment by renting out those places. Heidi, just out of curiosity, I'm sorry to ask, but roughly speaking, what would the studio rent for? What would the 1-bedroom cottage rent for? Just out of curiosity, roughly.
Oh, I mean, I don't handle any rentals, and our rental market has been in such flux. But if you want,
it could be $12,000. It could be $12,000 a month with FEMA. That's right.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really at this point. That's not really realistic. I mean, the studio listings I've seen are maybe around a couple thousand. Maybe the cottage would be around 3,000, something like that.
Holy moly, that's a lot more than I had thought. So you look at it between 2,000 and 3,000. Wow. So you're looking at 5,000 a month in income. Wow. That's a deal. I think that's a deal. Sounds like a deal to me. Anyway, sorry about that. Sorry about the bias and sorry for the offhand questions. Hey, before we move on to the next property, I want to give a circle back to Jesse. Thank you. You're welcome. I hope that was an enlightening discussion for you. All right, let's see. What do we got next here? We have this yours, Ashley. I think it's the Kailua Oahu property.
Yeah, so this one is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. It's an attached single-family home in a planned urban development called Kukilakila. This is in Kailua, right in the Enchanted Lake area. That is Enchanted Lake right there. So you have a half-mile walking path on the lake as well. And you do have mountain views from the lanais as well, a 2-car garage plus 2 additional parking. There's a pool, the barbecue area, pavilion, weight room, etc. The maintenance fees for this one is $700, and I have to go back and look, but it's in mid 700s. So low for an attached single family home. That's we're talking about maintenance fees and costs and insurances. This particular type of building, because they're attached single family homes, the insurance companies have been handling the policies different. So the maintenance fees have been able to be extremely stable with no large increases, even through COVID and last year in 2023 and 2024 evaluations. What's really unique about this particular home is that the 4 rooms are individually rented to military, and it brings in approximately $8,600, $8,670 to be exact. So that's what the current homeowner is renting it for.
Wow. Holy moly. These are some good numbers. I'm sorry, somehow we've floated onto this kick of renting out the property for positive cash flow. This is interesting. So, and Ashley, I'm assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong to assume, but I'm assuming that because you're listing it, you are well aware of the maintenance issues in this property, and kind of you've looked this over, and sounds like you're certainly confident enough about it to put it here on the show. Is that right?
I also own a attached home in this complex. So mine is a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, fully renovated, high-end home. And this is particular one listed here on the page is on road 5 of the 110 unit PUD. And then mine's on road 1. I know the complex pretty well. My daughter went to school across the street from here, and it's been a very solid association from what I've read through. And I've read through the condo docs twice.
There you go. Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. Misty, I think you mentioned you don't have a slide, but you want to talk about how do you want to? Let me see. Is there a slide here for you?
I believe
okay, this one. Is this yours?
That one's not mine, but you can leave that there because I'll touch on it. So as you can see, in the upper corner is Ali'ilani. It is one of the desirable areas, here in Kailua Kona. Very affordable. The HOA, I believe, is under 700 there, which is very rare, that you find here, because HOAs along Ali'i Drive, it is very, very expensive. But on Ali'ilani, as you can see, it is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. They do not allow STVRs. And I do see that, yes, the HOA is just under 700 there. But I see that as a deal. Anything that you can find on the market on Ali'i Drive that's under $1 million is definitely a deal. And the condos in this area, they typically start around the $500,000 range. So yeah, consider Ali'ilani as a definite deal in Kailua Kona.
Thank you, Misty. Is there anything else that you want to highlight? I know that there were some technical difficulties. Is there anything else that you want to highlight, or anything else that you're featuring that you'd like to mention at all?
That's good, Peter. Of course, like Ashley says, choosing your agent is very, very important, and you have a nice variety of amazing agents to choose from. So definitely reach out to us if you folks have any other further questions on either of these islands. We are happy to assist you.
Thank you, Misty. Hey, is there anything before we kind of start to wrap this up with some motivational thoughts on? Is there anything on this topic that I brought up earlier about sort of aging infrastructure, aging buildings, aging things that is catching up? Especially, I would think, Heidi, what about your set? There's with all the changes coming around in Lahaina, and how is that whole maintenance issue? Is there anything that you kind of see looming in the future, or kind of areas that you're overly cautious about beyond just the normal sort of maintenance due diligence, or HOA, which stands for Homeowners Association documents due diligence, that someone needs to do? Is there anything you want to comment on, Heidi, about that?
Well, I think it's important to understand any property over time is going to need maintenance. And this isn't something that's happening in the future. This is happening now. I mean, there's already condo developments that have recently undergone or are currently undergoing major plumbing upgrade projects because they were built in the late 70s and it's just time to redo all the plumbing, or they're doing an exterior renovation where they're taking the buildings down to the studs, redoing the exteriors, redoing the doors and windows. Nobody likes to hear about these projects. Nobody likes to live through them. Nobody likes to pay for them. But the reality is, I mean, this is going to improve the property value over time. And the investment being made in it through the maintenance fees or through the assessments, I mean, that is improving the asset over a long term and making it more desirable in the future. I mean, the alternative of not maintaining a property, at some point, if HOAs don't maintain their properties, they're not going to be able to get insurance. And then buyers can't get financing on the properties, and then the property values tank. So nobody wants that, and nobody wants a whole bunch of plumbing leaks or issues. So, I mean, I see the projects as really positive. It's just important to go in eyes wide open of, is something coming up or is something going to be needed in the future? And as part of your condominium documents, you should get a reserve study and see how funded the reserves are. You will get copies of the meeting minutes and financials, see what's being talked about in the meeting minutes. And yeah, there are projects coming up all the time. It's ongoing maintenance, and that's for any project. I mean, that's condos here that were built in 2005 are doing projects. Condos here that were built in the 1960s are doing projects. It's an ongoing thing.
My house is currently under a lot of projects.
In your house, yeah. I mean, that's the maintenance is kind of one of these realities, right? You can't escape, and people kind of freak out. Like my wife and I talk about this a lot. My wife's like, all these, I want to go into a condo because we don't have to worry about it. I'm like, yeah, okay, we have to not. We may not have to worry about it, but we got to do the maintenance here anyway. Either the maintenance in the house or maintenance in the condo. And HOA, in one sense, I'd rather be my own HOA association with authoritarian rule as opposed to having to kind of deal with an HOA board. Misty, is there anything that you want to add to this conversation about maintenance and condos and due diligence and upkeep and all that kind of stuff from your end? Is there anything you want to add to this?
Peter, going back to what Ashley said earlier, like that was so on point. Ashley, you specifically said, how important the board is. And if they're taking a careful look, and assessing the entire building and maintaining it, that is so important. And particularly here in Kailua Kona, one of the very oldest buildings here, I'm going to pinpoint on it, and it's Casa de Emdico. It is a very desirable area. It is one of the oldest, but it is probably the most best well-maintained. And just by Ashley saying, your board is so important, looking into those documents and seeing how the board is run and how they're maintaining the building. If you can have the oldest building on Ali'i Drive, but yet have it to be still the most beautiful, I mean, that speaks volumes. That's huge. And that's super, super important. So thank you, Ashley, for pinpointing on that. And it comes with a high HOA, it's like you pay
more. Reason why.
Yeah, you pay more for the most expensive thing. It's like fine wine, it ages like fine wine and it gets better, and you still end up paying, where back in the day, it was probably like well under $200,000, and now it's just shot sky high. So you should have bought more back then. There
you go. Should have bought and held as opposed to holding and then buying. There you go.
Yeah, you should never choose a property just because of the low HOA fee, because the HOA fee could go up in the future, and maybe the HOA fee is low because the property is not well funded. So there's lots of other aspects to look into it. I mean, of course, the HOA fee is going to impact the overall affordability, but just because a property has a low HOA fee, it doesn't mean it's better than a property that has a higher HOA fee.
Well said. Well said. I think about, look, I did the, I did some back of the napkin math about what kind of, I figured I was trying to compute. So, what, if we lived in a condo, but it's our house, what would be a good maintenance fee to have for our home so that we can, pay for the re-roofing that's going to happen in 20 years and the repainting that's going to happen in 15 years and all these sort of big maintenance items. And, again, back of the napkin, it came out to be like, $800, $1,000 a month. And that's just, that's just for a, kind of a regular home. So, all right.
Well, I just want to lighten up just the conversation on maintenance. When you're a tenant, I also want to remind you, as someone who is a tenant and has tenants, I just gained a new tenant, and they're moving specifically because the last landlord did not maintain. And so there was mold and mildew, and they had to hire an attorney, and they had to go to court to do these things. And they didn't have control unless if they wanted to pay and maintain someone else's house. So you also don't have autonomy. You don't have control when you are a tenant. So, don't be afraid of maintenance. It's a part of the cost. Save your receipts. When you sell, you can write those maintenance things off at your sale as well. If it's an investment property, you get to write them off that year. So there's a lot of benefits too. The maintenance is not all dread. And if your condo is an investment property at some point, you get to write off those maintenance fees to, I believe, check with your CPA.
Yeah, yeah. Well said. Thanks for that upbeat message there, Ashley. Thank you for the.
Well, I just
thank
know
you for
maintenance is so cumbersome, but you can't get around it. So people are like, "Oh, I'm going to do." You really can't. So we just want to empower community. And I want to give one last reminder for anyone who has bought a home this year or in the past. And if you forgot, you have a homeowner's exemption filing. The deadline is September 30th. You can go to realpropertyhonolulu.com for Oahu, and you can Google other islands or your state as well. But get your homeowner's exemption if you purchase this year, because you will save a lot on your taxes. So your homeowner's exemption is up to $120,000 for homeowners who qualify. And if you're over 65 years old, that's $160,000.
Well said. Well said. Alex chimes in. Always a great idea to pay for an inspection. I think an inspection is critical. You got to have that. Certainly. You wouldn't want to bypass that. All right. It's that time. It's time for our closing thoughts. That was a great discussion. Thank you, everyone. This is a time for us to, let me back up here for a minute just to tell everybody what this is. This is your time to, your time to share with us motivational thoughts that kind of keep you chugging and keep you moving throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout your life. Why don't we start with you, Misty? What is your quote and what does it mean to you?
Awesome. So yes, this is from the Ku Project, and it is, you stand taller and glow brighter when you have good people with good mana in your life. And I totally eat, sleep, and breathe this is, you are only as strong and amazing as the people that you surround yourself with. You surround yourself with greatness, you become, greater. You just share good energy, good mana. And once you surround yourself with all the negativity, you kind of feel yourself mimicking what you surround yourself with. So very, very important. Choose your circle wisely, surround yourself with greatness, and just become even greater to give forth, and just breathe aloha. That's basically what it is to me.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, there's a line about that relates to that, which is like you are the average. You will become the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with in your life. The top 5 people you surround yourself with you'll become the average of that. And hey, and speaking of surrounding himself with great people, Jim says, "Great to watch the show again." Well, Jim, we're glad to have you here. Is Dylan on the show? Not today, but Dylan he's out today. I should have mentioned that even. Misty, your mana and your overwhelming Mrs. Aloha is kind of like, we don't even think about Dylan, and we should say, yeah, Dylan's here. He's with us. We love him.
He's truly missed.
He's truly missed. Yeah, but yeah, he's with us. Excellent. Thanks. All right. Let's thank you. Thanks, Jim, for that. Great for helping me remind me of this. Ashley, what is your quote and what does it mean to you?
Keep your face towards the sunshine and shadows will fall behind you. I just think that it's important to stay positive and looking forward, and it kind of goes in alignment with Misty's. Just don't fall into the shadows. Just stay bright. Keep pushing forward.
Keep your face in the sunshine. Yes, right. And if you keep your face in the sunshine, you won't see the shadows that fall behind you. Your shadows,
you'll be blind.
You won't even see them. You won't even see them. You won't even see it. Yeah, exactly. That's why I got just to riff on this for a moment. Misty, and this, a very important thing in Hawaiian culture is your shadows. A shadow of an individual is seen as the soul of that individual, right, Misty? And then so there is a super, like, one of the most like spiritually powerful times of the day are those days, and there's only a handful of them where we have a lahaina sun. Have you guys ever tried that? It's the time when, like, it only happens like a few times in the year, where the sun is absolutely directly 100% over you and you cast no shadow whatsoever. That's a spiritually powerful moment in Hawaiian culture, Misty, if I'm not mistaken. Very, very spiritually powerful, where you cast no shadow. So Ashley, stand up in the lahaina sun and don't have any shadows whatsoever. Before we move on to yours, Heidi, we got some that have been supplied by the folks that are here, which is awesome. So Alex says, dreams don't work unless you do. Yeah, right? Otherwise, it's just a dream. Otherwise, it's just a dream. Bless you, Ashley, and thank you for having that mic muted. Yeah, dreams don't work unless you do. Exactly. You've got to put in the work. Otherwise, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. And Alex, thank you, Alex. Do not worry about tomorrow. It will take care of itself. You have enough to worry about today. Speaking about the presidency election, Alex, Alex, you probably know this, but that's like almost lifted word for word off a biblical verse. This is exactly what Jesus teaches. Don't worry about tomorrow. It will take care of itself. You have enough to worry about today. Although Jesus does not talk about the presidential election, but I'm sure he too would want his candidate to win the election. I'm sure he would. All right, Heidi, what is your quote, and give us its significance for you?
Actually, I think this is one from a few weeks ago, but it's a great quote, so I'll read it again.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Go for it.
So you have power over your mind, not future events. Realize this and you will find strength.
And what does that mean to you?
It's just about understanding that you have the power to choose your perspective, your thoughts, your reactions to things. While we can't control the future, we might not know what's going to happen. There are certainly aspects in this world that are uncertain. The thing that we always have control over is our own mind, our own perspective, our own thoughts, and might as well make them good.
Make them good. That's the one thing you do have. The one and only thing you have control over is your thoughts, right? Really, the only thing you truly have control over is your thoughts. All right. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, Matthew 6:34. That's it, buddy. That's the one. Thank you for sharing that. Always good to have a biblical verse. As you all probably know, the regulars on the show know that I too have my biblical verses. And so here's mine for today. Proverbs 29:1. He who is often reproved yet stiffens his neck will suddenly be broken beyond healing. That's kind of a dark one, but it's reprove. By the way, I had to look this up. What does reprove mean? Reprove means to scold or correct, usually gently or with kindly intent. So what is to say here is like, when people correct you, but if you stiffen your neck means if you reject what people give you as corrections, and if you reject the help that people are trying to give you, will be suddenly broken beyond healing. Pay attention to what people pay attention to, being corrected. Pay attention to correct yourself. Don't keep your neck so stiff or be suddenly broken beyond healing. Always fun to get I love getting the Proverbs. Alex says, hey, thank you all for your beautiful words of wisdom. Thank you, Alex, for sharing yours. It's all part of it. Yeah, just saying, everyone's worried about the elevation. You mean about the election? I'm assuming about the elevation too, probably. But we're all worried about the election. Yeah, don't worry about the election. He is in control. That's exactly right. That's actually what I fall back on. I know God's working it out. I know it's God's plan. I don't understand the plan. I can't make sense of it, but I know God's got it. All right. So look, folks, we're gonna see you in a couple of weeks. Dylan, I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be off island. I won't be doing the show, but Dylan and the team will be, as far as everyone else. So we're going to see you in 2 weeks. Let's say goodbye. Let's go clockwise. Heidi, then Ashley, and then Misty. Say goodbye.
Aloha, everybody. Happy Friday.
Aloha, everyone. Have a great day.
Aloha, everyone. Be blessed in all you do.
Be blessed in all you do. Thank you so much. See you all in 2 weeks. Aloha. Have a great one, folks. Bye-bye.
Aloha. Bye.